talking about becoming a speaker at the Conscious Life Expo. Now, you may be wondering, what is a Conscious Life Expo? So if you are not aware, okay, and I'm going to, do I need to hit something to turn this on?
Nope, up and down is all you need, I believe.
There, oh, okay, I'm hitting down, perfect, got it. All right, so this kind of gives you an idea of what the Conscious Life Expo is. It's an annual conference here in Los Angeles, and it's held at the LAX Hilton, so over by the airport. And these are just program guides, covers for the years that I've actually been to the Conscious Life Expo. So I'm pretty sure my first year was 2020, February. We had no idea what was coming shortly thereafter. But you can see some of the featured speakers here. Maybe you recognize some of these folks, maybe you don't. Let's look at the next set here. I've also attended 2022.
Russell Brand.
Yeah, okay. Someone noticed Russell Brand was on the lineup. Yeah, that was a big get, and as you know, he's kind of into the wooey stuff. Yeah, okay, so I'm showing the audience, goodness, Bashar. Well, let me get into it. So it's a conference for, wait, how did they describe it? They said, the premier 4-day expo exploring advancements in science, spirituality, health, well-being, and sustainable lifestyles. Oh, that sounds nice, yeah. 12 keynotes, 200 speakers, 10 panel discussions. There's so much stuff going on at this conference. So like when you walk into the Hilton, immediately you recognize this is not your ordinary conference. And so you'll have a stage constantly with singers and, you know, sure, guys wearing a duck bill and a gold shiny suit and tiger pants just dancing.
Yeah.
Totally normal for the Conscious Life Expo. You'll also find people selling special water. This is Starfire water, so you pay extra for this water because it's, you know, organically aligned with crystals and you know, meridians and just any other words you can throw in.
Quantum.
Yeah, quantum. Oh yeah, actually, I'm missing something very exciting there. It says on the sign, Yoniverse. So, yeah. No, thank you. I don't want that anywhere near my water. What's going on? You'll find booths with people just, you know, selling their wares, whatever their passion is. So here's a guy with his free energy machine. He's so close to having it working. It's any day now.
Any day now.
Yeah, and then of course like books on Tesla, you know, because that's his inspiration. Just
Oh, check her out.
amazing visuals. Yeah, look, oh, she's straight out of ancient Egypt, and we've got pyramids that we can sit under and align our quantum chakra, you know, whatever words you want to throw at it. And you just find these amazing interactions between people. And I love walking along the booths and just finding, you know, yeah, this woman with this kind of like Dracula-like pose because she's, you know, injecting healing energy into the body underneath the shroud there. I'm sure they're still alive. Or you'll find people like just holding up some weird metallic device to someone else's forehead. Here, this woman's got a singing bowl right in front of this guy's face. And I took the photo a little too late on this one, but you have this woman carrying like a Gandalf staff and someone else like just cupping her face, and they were like nose to nose for half a minute, of course, until I took a photo and then they stopped. But it's just amazing the interactions you find. So it is an embarrassment of riches at the Conscious Life Expo. So filling out your dance card is really difficult because there are literally 11 tracks going on at any one point. And one service we provide here at SkeptiCamp is that there's only one track. You're not missing something going on next door. You're here for all of it. But yeah, every day I'd have to like figure out, okay, well I definitely want to see Twin Ray. And then before that, do I go to the UFO disclosure update? Or do I manifest formula with energy alchemy? Oh, but I could be raising frequency with far infrared saunas. So many things to choose from. All right, so in 2024, what I did was I found a word cloud generator where you could just put in a bunch of terms and it'll find like which ones are recurring and it'll make an image out of it. So I just typed in every title of every talk at the entire conference, and this is what I got. So this gives you like a really good overview of the kind of things that people are drawn by. So we can see healing is number one, big time. Activation, astrology, light, technology, divine, frequency, manifesting, meditation, power. So over the years I've encountered so many interesting characters. This is just the top layer of so many interesting talks that I've been to. So yeah, here is Blocher, the alien channel. He's a channeler, kind of like why is her name escaping me now?
Ramana?
Yes, that's exactly what yes, up in Oregon, Washington. Anyways,
somewhere up there, yeah.
Yeah, Ramtha, yeah. So Blocher, this is actually Daryl Anka. He's the nephew of Paul Anka. And
poor Paul Anka.
he connects to this alien presence and shares wisdom. And so here's a woman, unironically in a gold pyramid hat asking him questions. This is, Cher Jolene, she's such a character. And a lady from the audience, Amy Starseed was her name. And here she is, getting kind of a healing. Just the things you see. This is Deborah King, and she's healing the audience and literally going, and trying not to laugh during that is just amazing. Billy Carson, he's like a creationist, but for the Babylonian creation myths. Why not? Let's see. And then, David John Oates, he's a specialist in backmasking, so he'll record things that a politician says, then play them backwards, and then find these hidden messages that are very important to him specifically. This is a guy who analyzed my blood in order to help me live my best sex life. I was gonna say what he recommended and realized, let's try to keep this a little clean. But he's convinced he's gonna live to 190. I'm convinced he's not.
Here it is.
You missed the parrot on your shoulder.
You're right. You know what? That's very important. Yes, during the backmasking, there's a guy in the audience with a parrot on his shoulder. Why not? The things you see at this conference, right? This is really just a promotion for this conference. Oh my goodness. Kimberly Meredith, she's another healer.
Oh, yeah.
And Alan Steinfeld, he's there at every lecture introducing folks.
She's the blinker, right?
She's the blinker, that's right. She had a car accident, and ever since she's had kind of rapid eye movements, and she uses this to diagnose and heal people now. This is a cat ascension guide. Everybody loves the cats. Yeah, so this is where you learn how to seek the wisdom from your cats for your spiritual ascension. I think everyone's actually convinced by this one. Okay. Okay, so I had been investigating this for many years, this conference, meeting these speakers, talking about what we encountered as part of my podcast, Ono, Ross, and Carrie. And one of the last things we had done on the show was to say that we would apply to give a talk at the Conscious Life Expo to see if we could be one of the presenters. And unfortunately, the show came to a sad end. But I thought, well, I should still do this. I should still try to give a talk at the Conscious Life Expo. So I went to their website, and there was a whole page for speaking opportunities at the conference. You can do a free lecture or a free workshop. It's free for people to attend if they've already paid to get in the conference, not free for you. And that's what we'll talk about. So what I did was said, okay, I'm interested. I filled out the inquiry form and kind of thinking about what kind of stuff they would want to hear about. I wanted to see, is there a way that I can kind of bridge the gap and talk about sort of a skeptical topic or approach to life, but using topics that would genuinely interest this group. So this was my initial proposal. I had to do it in 100 words or fewer. I said, true human superpowers. As a longtime attendee of Conscious Life Expo and reporter for my previous podcast, Ono, Ross, and Carrie, with a new podcast starting soon, I'd like to speak about verified human abilities that come to us from our natural bodies, but also from applying shared observation, the scientific method, and a series of psychological tools that help us think honestly about the world. I'll also point out ways to avoid thinking that makes us vulnerable to false information, financial scams, cult-like groups, negative health outcomes, and emotional manipulation.
Well done.
Thought, what's the worst that could happen? Send. So I got contacted by a producer at the show, and she said, okay, so there's 3 different types of talks at the conference. So there's a paid workshop, and that's where you pay, I think 40, maybe it's $50 now, to attend that talk. So sometimes I would want to pay, for specific speakers. But then there's like the free workshops, and those are an hour and a half. The paid ones are also an hour and a half. Or you could do the lectures, and those were 45 minutes. And I thought, I'd really like to do the bigger talk, because they give you the bigger venue if you're giving a keynote or a workshop rather than one of these smaller talks where they put you in some little side room that holds 20 people. So she sent me along this pricing guide, and this is there's two different ways to kind of pay to play. So obviously I think there are speakers there who they invite, and they don't have to pay anything because they're featured. Conscious Life Expo wants them to be there. But if you pay for a booth of a certain size, you can potentially give one of those smaller talks. And if you pay for an ad in their program that I've got here for this most recent year, then you can give one of those larger venue, longer talks. So you can see the prices here range, and having walked around the conference quite a few times, I kind of know now which booths paid $6,000 for an A++ space in the vendor area, and then they get that speaking gig. But then for A+, you can spend $4,500, $3,600, all the way down to $1,400 for some of these smaller booths that don't get as well attended. And there's multiple spaces, so similar pricing structures for the upstairs area. And then the lower level, and I love that they have one of the lecture halls is called the rabbit hole room. And they actually put the conspiracy theorists in there, like the anti-vaccine proponents.
Really?
Yeah, and they don't seem to mind being called the rabbit hole room.
Wow.
Okay, so also there's little packages you can add on to be included in their mailers that go out, or their social media, or website advertising. So if you chip in $100 here, a few $100 here or there, you can be included in the little tote bags they hand out. So yeah, lots of, this is how they're monetizing it. As well as, of course, charging the attendees for the show. Okay, and there we go. So I decided, you know what? I want to go bold or go home. I want to do like the full page ad. So I tell you, here's exactly what's required for it. But that's going to cost $3,500. So when I had this conversation back in October, I said to the producer, I'm not sure if I'm ready to kick in all of that much. Let me think about it for a bit. And at the time, I think you couldn't do the full page ad. There were only vendor booths. I said, well, put me on the list, because she had a list of potential speakers, and I think I was number 7. And so she came back to me in December and said, hey, we just had an opening for one of the bigger spots. Would you like it? And I'd already been kicking myself that I hadn't acted sooner. So I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll take it. And great, I'm gonna have to pay $3,600. So she gave me a form to fill out. She said, we gotta lock this down soon. I need at least your talk description and your bio. So I refined what I had submitted earlier, and then I put in my bio, and it says, I'm involved with the Skeptical Podcast, I'm involved with the CFIIG. They could have looked this up. They could have said oh, you don't belong here, go away. They did not. So then they said,
Yay!
we're gonna need your graphic to go in the book. And I would like to say that I was just being really clever and I'm gonna wait till the last possible minute to submit this just so they have no time to review it whatsoever. That is what ended up happening. It was more because I was busy. I was having a hard time creating this graphic, but I did, and I sent it literally the day before they were going to press. So we really need that graphic. So here I am in the 2025 program.
Awesome. Fantastic.
So I made it into this mailer that got sent out to everybody, just talking about the kind of talk that I would give, and also, upcoming podcasts, advertising the CFIIG, and also all the work with Ono, Ross, and Carrie. Okay, so I had support. So there's a good chunk of the audience here that was there at the Conscious Life Expo to support. So I had my band of Merry Misfits. Scientology had gotten their first booth, and now I know it cost them $1,600. And so, yeah, this was a guy named Brandon that I met, and we were having a great talk until I mentioned my name was Ross, and then you could see it set in, and like his face just turned to stone, because I'm on the Rogues Gallery with Scientology, for those of you who don't know that.
Yeah,
they're trained to recognize me and avoid me at all costs. So a friendly conversation turned into him on his phone, like typing in reports about having seen me. I can't help it, I was there first. This is the wonderful Mallory O'Mara. She's going to be my new co-host for the new podcast, I'm Sure It's All True, coming hopefully very soon. And so she was there as my videographer as well, as it turned out. And she's going to be here tomorrow night for a taping of Go Fact Yourself. Yay. So make sure to come back. That's going to be amazing. And Jerry O'Connell, whatever. Okay, so this was really exciting for me after having gone to this conference for years, seeing my talk being one of these talks in the hallway, the big hallway. So here was my audience.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that.
Standing room only.
We filled the room, which is fantastic. And yeah, lots of plants here, but also I think fans of the podcast, and also the target audience. Like there were people who were like, yeah, I want human superpowers. And quick time check. Okay. Oh yeah, all right, I need to be wrapping up to get us back on time soon. But I'll just give a very quick, I think this is worth doing. So they still had no idea what I was talking about. So I hope you can hear this properly. But this is Deborah, and she introduces a lot of the talk. So she came in and said, oh yeah, I'm gonna introduce your talk, and just check out how she characterized what I was gonna be saying.
Welcome to what's going to be another amazing, mind-blowing transmission at Conscious Life Expo. Hasn't this been amazing this year? My name is Dr. Christy, and I come every single year. What I can say is the consciousness, the awareness, and the superpowers raised every single year. It's really a sign of humanity's awakening. And I can see that in the collective and in everyone's becoming, and in the passion everyone has in every single room to be here and absorb this new information, and then hopefully ripple it out to the community. That's really what it's about. You all are in the front lines, as you know, of all this. And coming into your superpowers is a good part. Coming into your superpowers is the awakening. Part of the awakening, part of the
awakening, coming into your superpowers.
Is activating your superpowers. So that's why this topic is so important now. And I've heard from a lot of psychics, spiritual teachers, and astrologers, and that's really what's happening now. A lot of our superpowers are coming online.
Our superpowers are coming online.
Being able to remote view and just everything else, manifestation, all of that. So Ross Blocher has made it his passion to study this
True.
And understand what this really means. And he's going to be communicating with you his knowledge of this and what it really means, which can hopefully help you activate your spiritual powers. I think that's what's
hopefully help you activate your spiritual powers.
With deep pleasure and acknowledgement, I welcome Ross Blocher.
So I love that she even mentioned remote viewing, which I was about to take the snot out of. But so I won't re-give the whole talk, but I'll just kind of quickly go over what I covered. I had a fun meditation that I wanted to kick everything off with, and something I was legitimately excited about. I had everyone visualize holding their mother's hand, and their mother holding their mother's hand, and the mother's and the mother's mother, going all the way back into time, and mentioned how quickly we lost our memory of even our own ancestors. Mm-hmm. and then as you go back farther, just biologically, it takes a few miles down from the hotel before you find the common mitochondrial DNA ancestor of all living humans, and it was able to kind of establish the breadth of humanity. So I don't know, I was geeking out on it. I had fun with that meditation. But then we talked about superpowers and kind of the two meanings we have: exceptional humans versus people actually Gesundheit, breaking the laws of physics. And so we talked about just amazing humans and their amazing accomplishments, both genetically and, okay, that's really cool, but I won't be able to stop it if I start playing it. So we talked about that, pie memorization. And
Oh, I was there.
yeah,
I was there.
some of us were there at the spoon bending, absolutely. So we talked about like breaking records and why that's so exciting and how important it is to have verifiers there to verify that these powers are real, and why we expect that for a certain class of human achievements. But then I got a little controversial and started turning the conversation to things that are unverified superhuman powers. But I had the audience kind of pitch all the things that they would want, and if we did the same thing here, people want to be able to fly, they want to be able to walk through walls, there's all these things people want to do. Mine is to be able to find any object anywhere. And I talked about how all of these desires for superpowers come from kind of our own personal needs, and they're all kind of related because we have similar needs, and you can break down that desire to fly, that desire to find anything, to kind of these deeper needs. And I talked about kind of how the Conscious Life Expo promotes that. Wait, did someone recognize who this is? Jack Howe?
Yes.
Yes. So he said something, I'll go ahead and play this because I think this is very revealing.
First of all, we're going to have fun tonight. That's what the party means. PK stands for psychokinesis, mind over matter, and party means let's have a lot of fun and get a lot of excitement going and just have at it. Now, the bottom line to it all, the PK parties, is really not to bend the metal. It's to learn and get it clear to your subconscious that you can do anything.
And I think that's really it. I think that's why people who attend conferences like those really care about human superpowers. Emery, you're telling me?
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay. It's not because it's about bending the spoons, because come on, if we were really actually bending spoons with our minds, that would be amazing, and all of these verifiers like us would be there to verify it. And what it's really about is just telling yourself, I can do anything. And I was hoping to connect with the audience that you can still have that takeaway without believing anything incorrect about the world. So this is where we talked about, non-real abilities, including spoon bending. This was a spoon bending workshop at a previous Conscious Life Expo. And watch, immediately they use their hands. But they still exult in the powers of their minds and forget that they use their hands to bend the spoons.
Wow.
Yeah, and I also, again, mentioned remote viewing and how that doesn't work. So, people don't live forever. And I picked on Deepak Chopra for a while because that was fun. Because that's after he wrote a book about, like quantum healing, how, you don't have to age. And, that's him now. He looks great, but he's aging. Come on, give me a break. Ageless body, timeless mind. That was the, so I was making fun of all the quantum nonsense.
What's your name?
I'll skip past all of this. We talked about dowsing. We talked about the CFIIG and how if anyone had any real powers or knew someone who did, they could get tested and win big money. And also how different the world would look if people did have powers like these. We would not be living in the world that we do. And I'm going to go ahead and skip past this, but I talked a bit about kind of the wonders of what science has given us in this world and how the superhuman powers that we have, like the fact that we traveled, overnight from a different part of the state, hundreds of miles away. Our ancestors couldn't do stuff like that. They couldn't pick up their phone and talk to someone in Australia. So science is where we can really look to achieve the superhuman powers of the future. And so I left everyone with the reminder that you are star stuff. You are a rare example of intelligent life in the universe. You are part of the amazing story of life, and in all of human history, there's only one you. You are capable of so much, because I think that message is still true, even without believing anything extraordinary about the world. And that's it. Well, thank you all so much, and yes?
What was the response like?
That's a really good question. So the response was, people seemed interested, and I could see people who were clearly having that mental state of, oh, this isn't what I came for. And a few people did get up, but others confirmed with me that it seemed more like they had a 1 o'clock appointment and they were getting up kind of to go to somewhere else. I didn't see anyone who was upset. But also I brought all these personal bodyguards and didn't need them. So nobody rushed the stage or tried to shiv me afterwards or anything like that.
Did people come up and talk to you?
They did, but they were mostly like fans of the podcast. So, yeah, there were a couple people in the audience who had some really good questions and additional insights that they offered. But yeah, nobody came up and said like, "You changed my mind," which honestly, that would be great. I wouldn't expect. So I was kind of glad that no one just seemed really pissed, but hopefully people kind of had all of that in their minds later when they went to look at all the other booths and heard people mentioning quantum this and quantum that. Hopefully they just had a little version of me in their heads kind of now questioning some of the things they were seeing. So that was, yeah, I have no way of knowing. Maybe somewhere down the line I'll hear from someone who had their mind changed. Who knows? Yes?
Will you do it again?
That's my question, yeah.
Gladly. I might have to take a loan next time for the $3,600 or $3,500 for the speaking fees. But I had a great time, and I really rushed it, and afterwards I was like, oh, I wanted to say more about this and this and this. So gladly I would come back again. And you know what? The producer and everybody was all like super friendly afterwards, and they're like, oh, thank you, and oh, that was unusual. That was a reaction like from the organizers. You could tell like, okay, that was unusual, but they did like kind of invite me to come back in the future. They seemed to want to keep the good relationship.
Wow.
Yes.
That was actually my question.
Oh, okay.
If you're going to have to use a fake name next time.
I think one lesson that I learned from my investigations, apart from Scientology, is that usually people are just kind of lazy. Like they won't go to a lot of effort to look you up or anything like that. They'll just assume, why would this idiot want to pay all this money unless he was like one of us? So you can get by quite a bit just on people's assumptions. Well, thank you so much, everybody, and